Well, India and the United Arab Emirates have signed a framework agreement for a new trade corridor connecting India to Europe through West Asia. This ambitious plan, backed by the United States and EU, aims to bypass the traditional Suez Canal route and potentially reshape trade flows. The corridor, announced in September 2023, will span across the Arabian Sea, through the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and connect to Europe via Jordan and Israel. While details remain unclear, the government is seen as a major step in strengthening economic ties between India and the UAE, already top trading partners. The agreement extends beyond a major trade corridor. India and the UAE also signed a bilateral investment treaty fostering deep economic cooperation. Additionally, agreements were reached on electrical interconnection, digital infrastructure, and trade facilitation. The deal comes amid regional tensions with the ongoing Gaza conflict and recent attacks on the Red Sea shipping lanes. And despite these challenges, both India and the UAE remain committed to the corridor project. Some analysts also see the deal as a potential challenge to China's Belt and Road Initiative, offering an alternative trade route for Europe-Asia connectivity. However, it remains to be seen how the corridor will impact existing trade dynamics and global supply chains. WION's business editor Rahul Karnakar spoke to Ashin Molavi, senior fellow at Johns Hopkins University, regarding the same. Listen to this.
Welcome to WION's exclusive interview with Afshin Molavi, a senior fellow at Johns Hopkins University. He is joining us from Dubai. Thank you, Afshin. Welcome.
Thank you, Rahul. It's very nice to be with you.
For decades, West Asia strongly aligned its foreign policy with Western nations, but we are now increasingly seeing a global South assertion. How do you see this?
It's a very good question, Rahul, because you're absolutely right. I mean, for many years, countries in West Asia, the Middle East, were aligned very closely with the United States. It was almost a remnant of the Cold War. But we have seen, particularly here in the Gulf Arab states, a new era of strategic multi-alignment, much more geopolitical diversification. We're seeing that in their relations with China, seeing that in the relations with India. We're seeing that with the possibility of the UAE and Saudi Arabia joining the BRICS Plus grouping. Look, at the end of the day, both the UAE and Saudi Arabia have come to the conclusion that their economic policy should be the driving force for their foreign policy. And as a result of that, they have adopted this policy of strategic multi-alignment, and they don't want to fall into one camp or another camp.
Right.
And so this is going to be something we're going to see going forward as well.
Right. It's also often said the Indian diaspora in West Asia is the backbone that holds together the relationships between India and the Arab world. Now, can you help us understand how important is this diaspora factor?
It's a very important factor. I think the Indian diaspora has been absolutely essential to the rise of the Gulf Arab states, particularly here where I'm sitting in Dubai and in India. There is a joke among professional Indian expatriates, what's the best city in India? And the answer is Dubai. Of course, it's just a joke, but they feel a certain sense of ownership of the place, and rightfully so. I mean, Indian nationals have been very important from everything, from the C-suite executives in banks and design firms and consultancies, all the way down to the middle level clerks and accountants, all the way down to labor. 3.3 million Indian nationals in the UAE alone. They have been vital. And what has happened is, as UAE-India geoeconomic ties have grown, I think the UAE national authorities have looked at the Indian diaspora in a different way than they have in the past. And they've really begin to show a great deal of appreciation for what the Indian diaspora has done here in the UAE.
Right. Now, many nations in West Asia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, and so on, are looking to diversify their economies beyond oil. How important is India as an investment destination from that point of view?
India is going to be a very important investment destination. I can tell you from here in Dubai at the World Government Summit. I just attended an event yesterday, and it was the chief executive of Mubadala, one of the world's largest sovereign wealth funds, Khaldun al-Mubarak. And he was asked about future investment opportunities anywhere in the world. He specifically pointed to India. He was specifically bullish on the future of India as a place that could be a center for future UAE investment. He pointed to rising demographics. He pointed to sizzling growth rates in India. So clearly, there's a lot of attention on India as a future investment destination. And you're right. They understand that the oil era is coming to an end. We're still going to need fossil fuels for maybe another 20, 30, 40 years, but they're going to have to diversify away from fossil fuels, and they're all moving aggressively in that direction.
Right. And what's your take on the deal India-UAE signed on the transcontinental trade corridor?
Yeah, you know, the transcontinental trade corridor, in many ways, I view it as the government catching up with private sector and commercial dynamism of this India-UAE relationship. The India-UAE relationship has been one that has been growing very rapidly. It's a $70 billion plus trade relationship, and it goes back, hundreds of years. Back in the 1950s and 60s, the Indian rupee was the national currency here in Dubai. So, this idea that the government, is now supporting this India-UAE trade corridor. We've already been seeing an India-UAE trade corridor. Indian goods are already being re-exported very robustly through Dubai ports and through Abu Dhabi ports. We've seen enormous amounts of people flows, trade flows, services flows, capital flows between India and the UAE. So this is simply an extension of what was already happening.
All right. Yeah, fantastic. It was wonderful talking to you, Afshin. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure, Rahul. Thank you.
Thank you. Good day.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.